As a kid growing up, I always tried to watch Dragon Ball Z whenever it came on. Now, I'm not one of the old heads that watched it with the original Ocean dub or whatever VHS they had in the anime shed. I'm one of those that watched Kai when it was on Nicktoons.
Now, brace yourself for a double premiere of Nicktoons' brand new series, Dragon Ball Z Kai.
Watching the Saiyan saga go down, seeing everyone fall one by one, then Goku showing up with his silent rage was something that my friends still talk about till this day. But for me, the thing that wowed my little bird brain was seeing the Kaioken for the first time.
Kaioken! What?
An ability that multiplies your speed and your strength with the cost of recoil. I've never seen that one before in my dumb baby child life. Besides like Pokemon, Digimon, and maybe Avatar, seeing a transformation like that was the first for me. The classism with Goku and Vegeta, Monkey Go Angry dazzled my brain and irreversibly changed how I look at character creation and powers for a long while. All this to say, Base Super Saiyan was my favorite transformation in any type of media for a long while. With Frieza representing being the pure real estate evil conquering worlds without a care for life against Goku, a pure-hearted warrior who loves and cares for his friends and Earth to the point where the death of his closest friend transforms him into the legendary Super Saiyan. Just seeing that fight go down and the dramatic finish at the end with Goku looking sad that he had to do that, I mean, just who wouldn't be at all reading this daily or watching it when it first aired? And then I started reading OnePiece. I don't really remember how or what pushed me to read it. I always saw friends talking about it, pressing me on reading it since they knew I would love it, with me being the ocean guy and all. But it wasn't until the pandemic I started reading it and latching onto it, fully immersing myself with the media and now playing the TCG and trying to find all the little details and real world references that Oda liked to use in his story. So after reading through the pandemic and finally experiencing the outdoors again, I got to Wano, and importantly, Kaido versus Luffy. Reading that fight had me on the edge of my seat. Seeing the whole entire build-up to this fight, seeing what Luffy is fighting for, which is the oppression that this island has been through, against Kaido, the beast himself, one of the 4 emperors of the sea, a man who can turn into a literal dragon, the one who enslaved Wano natives, gave drugs to his crew in hopes they get powers, and for the drugs that were faulty, well, we saw how much the people of Wano were smiling. So much build up to this fight. The change of powers, the fate of the island, the one who will obtain the One Piece rides on this very fight. And Luffy lost. CP0 interfered, and Luffy lost. But the mystery for me at this point wasn't will Luffy get up, it was how Luffy will get up. Will Yamano and Momonosuke get Luffy and barge in after Kaido in a tag team epic fight? Will Luffy somehow stand up and somehow pull Gear 4 out of his butt? Or will the soul of Odin come to him in some weird bizarre hockey and... What? Oh. Oh my god, we're getting another Gear? I just finished Dressrosa like 2 weeks ago. Why are we getting one this early? What's it gonna be? Is it gonna be this big giant ultimate creature thing? Is it gonna be this bouncy balloon thing? Like, oh my, there's so many possibilities that Oda could do. What is it going to be? What is this? The clouds, the sun, the fight. What the hell is this? Luffy was on death's door and he just goes cloud mode, gear ultimate, and goes to Toontown? When this first happened, I genuinely didn't like it because to me, this really felt like Oda just wrote himself in a corner and pulled something out of his butt rather than the backed into a corner Super Saiyan moments that make them so memorable, even though it is Toriyama just flying by the seat of his pants. And also, what is this? Why does it look like this? For me, at this moment, I didn't like Sun God Nika, or Gear 5 as it's called. Through the way it was presented and how it was executed, I just didn't understand it. However, my friends have this whack saying about me that if I hate something at the start, that means I'll absolutely adore it later. Suffice to say, as soon as I got done reading Wano, I immediately started doing my crackpot research looking for Nika ref. The thing that drew me the most to reading One Piece more was seeing how Oda takes inspirations from almost everywhere in the world and transforms it into the way he does world building. From the obviouslies of Blackbeard and the Ark, to Big Mom's references and all the architecture that goes into each island. It's why seeing every new island that the Straw Hats went to is such a treat for me, because seeing what all this man puts to paper and showing bits and pieces of how the world is put together, either past or present, is so mind-blowing. So that's why I started just looking for a ref for Nika, cause just, honestly, what the actual fuck is Sun God Nika? Actually, I made a Google Doc that kind of goes in tiny depth with how insane it is on finding real-world reference for Nika, but the TLDR is this. From the start of the transformation, we get one of the elders calling this the Sun God Nika, also known as the Warrior of Liberation who makes people laugh by the way he fights. Now the name Nika has many meanings. It's a non-gender name in Slavic that originated from Greek mythology, Nike, the goddess of victory, while in the Persian language it means very good or pure. Also in Japan, Nika is onomatopoeia for smile. So the name Nika is just baseline pure and good. Now the sun god part, that's absolutely tricky because there's about 147 sun gods that have been recorded on the internet. Cult knows how many, so finding a match to ref Oda's Nika is impossible, or time that I'm too lazy to give. There's maybe a slight pull from the Brazilian folk legend known as Curupira, who's a trickster that attacks poachers, but the only resemblance it shares with Nika is just hair and maybe shorts from Nika's silhouette, but even then, that is completely different from this. I was stumped at just what Nika is, and not in the sense of power or lore of him. I was more confused as to the meaning of Nika. Why did Nika wake up at that moment? What does Nika mean to the Zhao and the people who do remember him? And why does Luffy use it so willingly even though it zaps a lot out of him? With all that wondering, I set sail to Egghead, and when arriving there, everything and more was answered for me. It started off when Bonnie asked Luffy what that was. And Luffy said, the first key of understanding Nika. Freedom. Nika's freedom? What correlation does a sun god represent? Oh, that's right. The Warrior of Liberation. The Warrior of Liberation. And after everything that happened in Egghead, especially Kuma's backstory, like holy shit, I finally began to understand what Nika actually is. When everything is in danger, when all is lost, when oppression seemed to have finally won, Nika will be there to help liberate those people in need while putting a smile on your face. Because Nika is the embodiment of true freedom. In a story that has oppression, slavery, and the world government controlling everything that is led by a figure of immense power, the pirates of One Piece represent the opposite of that by rebelling against the rules that were laid before them by Imu and trying to be free in their very own ways. The freedom of having a found family, the freedom of being strong, the freedom of oppression, and the freedom of being loved. So many kinds of freedom, and Nika, not just the sun god, but the warrior of liberation, represents that truest form of freedom. That freedom to twist and contort your surroundings, giving the people around you the biggest smile on their face while freeing others from the chains of reality. Nika represents the freedom of being you. So, bringing it back to Wano, we have a standoff in all of One Piece, and my favorite transformation of all time. Kaido, strongest creature alive, who's using the fish fruit model Azor dragon, based off of the Chinese mythology known as the symbol of authority and fortune, now being used as a symbol of strength and oppression. Against Luffy, a pirate who liberates his friends and people from situations that they've been dealing with over and over again throughout his travels, using the gum fruit giving him a body with the property of being rubber, also known as the human fruit model Nika, where once fully awakened, can make you be as free as you want. And in a battle of oppression versus freedom, Luffy has always taught us this one thing, that if you keep on fighting, freedom will always be the winner. This has been Lounge. Thanks for watching, and let's meet back again, shall we?